free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
I'm here to ask the New Zealand Superfund to divest from Israeli companies that, for example, Israeli chemicals that make white phosphorus, but Caterpillar and other companies that benefit from the illegal occupation of Palestinian lands.
White phosphorus has been used by Israel against civilians. Do you know what white phosphorus does? It burns people's flesh. It burns people's flesh, and that is our money invested in companies which profit of such vile acts as burning the flesh of young children.
Now we are completely against this crime, the crime of financial terrorism committed by the Superfund to burn children in Palestine.
We're here to benefit the patient, not entitled to come in the building.
The Superfund is invested. That's hardly likely to break the peace, is it?
It's not enough to say, oh, it's really far away from us and it doesn't matter and it's irrelevant to us. What we should actually be saying is, how are we involved, how are we complicit, and what can we do about it here and now? And how we're involved is that our Superfund is invested in a number of companies, and I think Mike was just actually mentioning some of the other ones. Companies such as Caterpillar, companies such as G4S, which is a huge private security contractor, companies which facilitate the bulldozing of Palestinian homes, companies which facilitate the incarceration of Palestinian children, some as young as 12.
All of those companies are companies supporting the occupation. And you also can't say that the companies that are supplying the military hardware, supplying the phosphorus, white phosphorus, the companies supplying the bulldozers, that they too should be exempt from it, because all of those instruments are instruments of occupation, they are instruments of disposition, they are instruments of oppression, and they should be ended. The way that we need to bring it an end is those who are thinking of profiting from that exploitation and oppression and occupation, those who profit from it need to stop. We need to withdraw the funds from Israel and the Israeli companies connected to the occupation. We need to withdraw all support and boycott, divest and sanction that regime until we have a permanent end to occupation in that region. The occupation, the apartheid and the destruction of Palestine is made only possible with your tax-funded investments of Superfund. We are here to say no. We are here to say no to Israeli chemicals, no to Caterpillar, no to Boeing, no to General Dynamics, no to any company. $7 million in 42 Israeli companies investing and profiting with superannuitants funds to terrorize Palestinians.
So that's why we're here today to oppose the investment of our tax money, in companies which profit off this regime. And we're also here to say to Aotearoa, who is the Chief Executive of New Zealand Superfund, who also, by the way, is the highest paid public servant in Aotearoa today on $800,000 a year, that we want to see this divestment happen as soon as possible. Another day of these companies being invested in with our money is another day where we actually, as citizens of Aotearoa, have that blood on our hands. And as long as the people of Palestine are not free, we will stand to oppose the Superfund's investment in these companies. And what Adrian said to us when we met with him last year was that when we mentioned the issue of white phosphorus being produced by Israel Chemicals Limited, he said to us, do you brush your teeth? And we said, what? And he said, well, white phosphorus is used in many things, such as toothpaste. So why should we divest? And I said, but Adrian, we know that white phosphorus, that Israel Chemicals Limited, that we're invested in, does not get used merely in toothpaste. And he said, no, you're right, actually. They sell it to the US military and then it gets used in Iraq and then sold off to the Israeli military.
It's quite straightforward.
Are you trying to come into the building?
We would like to go into the building. We would like to speak to Mr. Orr and ask him how the process is developing about divesting from these companies. And companies that support the settlements, not just build them. it's equally bad.
This is a process which began with what seemed to be a fairly friendly relationship between us and New Zealand Super. And it sounded as if they were going to make progress in divesting, but now suddenly it seems that that process is being interrupted and we don't understand why.
And they won't
We'd
let
like
you.
to talk to them, but we're not being listened to. Although we're all New Zealand superannuitants, and we would say we don't represent a threat to the peace at all.